Hi everyone, welcome back everyone. How's it going? Give me just 1 minute until I let this background outside. So, hi everyone, welcome back again to another stream here in Local Hack Week, APIs Week, Go Hack Week. Sorry, I think I said local, but it's global actually. So welcome everyone to this Global Hack Week, APIs Week. Hi Pranab, it's so nice to see you again. How are you doing, Pranab? Hi Green Joshi, it's so nice to see you too. Green Joshi, you're always in all my streams. I don't know why, but even if I'm working on different hours, you're still here. You too, Pranab. Thanks so much for being here. So welcome everyone. What do you think if we start first? Give me 1 minute until I open my slides, and after that we can continue with that. I think it's okay. Yeah, I think you should be able to see everything right now. Yeah, you can see it. I think there you go. Oh wow, nice. Thanks so much, Green Yoshi. So, Green Yoshi, where are you from? And also, Pranay, where are you from? I'm always curious. I've been always curious, thinking about uh, where are you watching us from? Are you from India, Pakistan? Are you from here from Colorado or something like that here in the US or something? Or are you from other part of the world? Like are you from Africa, from the Middle East or something like that? Um, oh wow, that's pretty neat actually. So are you from Texas or something like that? Like Southwest is no, oh no, West is the other side. Sorry for that. Like Arizona, New Mexico, and California. And to be honest, I don't know a lot of geography on the US. Let me just search for a US map, I think. Yeah, California, Arizona, and which other is this? This one is, oh my god, I don't remember. Nevada, Utah, and I think it's Colorado. Is Colorado, New Mexico considered like Southwest? Oh yeah, nice. You're from Arizona. And I think that's where the Grand Canyon is, right? Anyway, let's continue with this. So, welcome everyone. Welcome again to this stream here in the Global Hack Week APIs week. So, as you remember, last session we worked around on how to create your first API or your first e-commerce API. It is not. It was not with Python. We changed the language. Uh, Suddenly we changed the language. I decided to change this. I need to change the title too. So if you don't know me, it's announced to meet you. Um, my name is David Lazarot, or you can call me David, however you want to call me. I'm a coach here at MLH. I've been working as a coach like 1 year and 2 months or something like that. And also, I'm a software development engineer in a company called Aspen Tech, which is from the US. And but it has offices here in Mexico City. And I'm from Mexico. If you don't know, or you can get my accent or something like that. I'm from Mexico. I live in Mexico City. So if you're anyway any day you come here to Mexico City, if you want to have a nice time, just send me a message, and we can just meet together or plan something fun. So yeah, I also work in communities as a GitHub Campus expert, and also I'm the founder. I love hackathons, and uh, hackathons are my things. Like I'm a real fan of being in hackathons, participating and things like that. And and also I'm founder of a hackathon in the north of Mexico called Tigre Hacks, which means like tiger hacks or something like that. And once upon a time I was an MLH fellow on the 2022 summer B batch, I think. I was in the Meta production engineer batch. And there's a little group of my friends that I call ML Cats. We're a group of machine learning enthusiasts and designers, full stack developers, and things like that. I really love them, so I always share with everyone that I really love my friends. So if you're an ML Cat, hi, I love you. In Curriculum building, Texas startup, research tool for researchers here in Mexico, and more things that I don't think I'm allowed to. So anyway, let's continue with this. Like, the question is, do you remember what we watched the other session? If you're not, well, before doing that, you can follow me on social media as. Oh yeah, and I forget to tell this. Like, if you're seeing these two drawings, like up me, the one in the right is called Pumperine, and the left is Snoopy. They are my two alter egos, and I'm a super fan of both of them. So you probably are going to see or watch maybe some drawings on the slides about Pumperine or Snoopy. So yeah, if you want, you can follow me on my social media. Here's my X, GitHub, and LinkedIn accounts or tags. Yeah, tags. Here are my my social media tags. So if you are using any of these for social media, you can follow me there. So yeah, last session we work around on building the first stuff that we needed for our first session. We learned with the basics about what's an API, some examples, types of APIs, what is web API, types of web APIs that we look into, what is HTTP, the client server model, type of requests, examples of the type of requests that we were using, what were databases, like some basic examples about databases, the types of databases that exist, and um, some other examples like relational databases. And pretty much, I think we learn like the basics of this stuff, like what is a table, what is how is the data structured, what is a relational database, and how we can see these databases being displayed in tables whenever we are using relational databases. But yeah, also we learned what MySQL was, how we are using MySQL, and it was a lot of theory. I remember saying that if you fell asleep, don't worry about it. Uh, I know that it was a lot of theory, but thankfully we learned how to uh, use this stuff for implementing our repo and continue working with it. So if you don't have the repo link, don't worry about it. I'm going to pass you the link of the repo. Let me just share it with you right here. I think now you should be able to see the repo. And there you go. Are you sure in the chat like the link of the repo? And oh yeah, yeah, you're totally right. We talk about a lot of about Mexican food, which kind of Mexican food is like actual Mexican food, not like hard tortilla tacos or something like that, like fake Taco Bell food or things like that. And also, I remember I don't know, it was Green Joshi, or it was someone in the chat that said, oh yeah, I think it was 404 that was talking about that he just had something like a quesadilla or something like that, and that he was just eating some Mexican food, but I don't quite remember which Mexican food does did 404 eat. I think it was actually a quesadilla. But yeah, anyway, we talk about a lot of Mexican food. We had a lot of fun trying to build our first basic stuff inside our API. So I think you're seeing now the screen of the code spaces that is being generated. Again, if you have never worked with this repo, if you wasn't on the last stream, we're using GitHub Code Spaces because we're going to install a lot of the stuff of MySQL stuff, and I'm going to install it on an Ubuntu machine or a Linux machine. So if you're using Windows or you're using Mac or something like that, you're able to do whatever you want, to use whatever you want. I'm using code spaces because I don't want to mess or to have a lot of time messing around with installation stuff and with some other things like dependencies or Windows versions or Windows path environment variables or things like that. So pretty much I'm using code spaces so I don't need to fight with that and so you don't need to fight with that too. So yeah, why don't we continue with this? So last session we actually learn about how to start a new API with TypeScript and Express.js. We learn the first basic stuff about Express, like how to create an app in Express, how to create a port, how to start routing on Express API on Express, and how to start a new application. And also, we learned a lot about architecture in APIs, what was a controller, and I think we led it on controllers and services, and yeah, I think we just touch controllers and routes, and that's all. Like we just take a look into what a package.json was, what a gitignore file was, and why it's important to utilize what is important to use a get ignore file and the DB that we were going to start today. So if my mind remembers well, today we need to talk about our RMs and install a lot of stuff inside our Linux machine so we can start working around with my SQL and start installing stuff inside our Linux machine that we have right here so we can work locally with a real database and also so we can start installing stuff as a root user. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually install stuff. So I'm going to use the terminal that CodeSpaces has here. And why are we going to use the terminal and which thing are we going to install? The first thing that we're going to install is MySQL. So I'm going to follow the how to install MySQL on Ubuntu 2004 DigitalOcean guide. So if you want to follow that, usually what I do on Code Spaces is that because Code Spaces is a container and if you don't know containers, don't worry about it. You don't need to know them right now. But the only thing that you need to know is that, as you can see here on the left side of the terminal, I have at David Lazaro Fernandez, which is my GitHub username. So I'm working as a user here on my Linux machine. But what I want to do is to have all permission for installing stuff, installing everything that I need to. So for doing that, I'm going to use a Linux command called um, sudo root, and this command is going to actually um, basically we're saying, hey Linux, with as an admin, I want to execute the following command. Hey, change the user to the root user in the current terminal. So as you can see here now, the left side of the terminal is saying root. Basically, I'm having root permissions, and basically with these root permissions, I'm able to install stuff and I'm able to update packages that Linux have and things like that. So the next thing that we're going to do is to do sudo apt update, and also let me know if this font size is good, or if you want me to make this like bigger so you can be able to see it better. But basically, yeah, we're going to do sudo apt get, if I'm not wrong, apt get update, I think. Sudo apt, no, actually it was just apt update. So yeah, pretty much what we're going to do is that apt and apt-get are the package managers of Ubuntu. So as you can see here, basically we were just installing a lot of stuff like, hey, take a look into the packages that we have currently from Microsoft, from iCloud, Ubuntu, from Yarn, and things like that, and bring it here into this machine. So we fetched 31 megabytes uh, packages URLs, I think, or well, you can imagine it as as a packages of URLs that redirect me whenever I want to install something like MySQL. So whenever I do something like I don't know, like hey, install my SQL server, it is going to allow me to do that. So the next thing that we need to do is to install my SQL server. So how we're going to do that is by doing utilizing the same sudo command, and with our package manager do apt, hey apt, please install the following package, which is called my SQL server. So now if we do this, we're going to see that we're going to read a new package, and then we're going to install it right here. So as you can see here, we have a message that says, do you want to continue after this operation? You're going to be installing these packages, and this amount of memory is going to be utilized in your disk space. So do you want to continue with this? We're going to say, yes, I want to continue. So as you can see here, MySQL is going to be fetched and installed inside uh, my machine. So yeah, let me read the comments so I can see if you have any questions. Yeah, yeah, we know about containers now. Dimmer clear all the jobs related to containers. Thank you so much, Dimmer. Dimmer, you're the goat. You are the goat, Dimmer. And sudo upgrade, yeah, sudo upgrade also works a lot. No, I think get is duplicated. Yeah, actually, get is duplicated. I totally forgot about that. Um, Uh, Hi, Veron. Welcome back again. It's so nice to see you, Veron. I haven't seen you like since Friday, I think. Friday or Saturday, something like that, I think. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, Veron. How's your day? Um. Oh no, you missed it, Dylan. The dimmer stream. The good thing is that if you or any of the hackers that are watching us today want to take a look into the previous streams that we have on the current Global Hack Week, you can go into mlh.tv and just click inside the Twitch TV channel and go to videos. And with videos, you'll be able to see all the previous streams that we had on this Global Hack Week. So there you go. I just sent a chat, and here on Twitch, yeah, you can watch it on Twitch. You can watch it on YouTube. I think we have also LinkedIn. To be honest, I feel sorry for that. I don't know. Well, oh my god, I'm dying. I'm so sorry for that. Oh my god, I was better. I'm better now. Yeah, I'm not really sure about LinkedIn, but I know that on YouTube and Twitch you can watch like all our streams. So don't worry about it. So yeah, pretty much let's continue with that. So as we can see here, we already have installed my SQL server. And now the question is, hey, how does Ubuntu knows when my SQL server is going to be running? And we can see that really easily by just doing the following command. So I, my SQL server or anything that executes on the background in my terminal or in my Ubuntu machine is going to be known as a service. So if I want to see the status of my current services that I have, I can do something like service status all. And as you can see here, here are the following services that my machine has, but they are not active, or we don't know like the current status of the following uh, services that we have actually currently. So as we can see here, we have different symbols. The plus symbol means that, for example, SSH, because I'm working in a container, SSH is something that I need to have active because I had my computer needs to have access to the computer on the code spaces. So SSH is something that must be running. For example, dboost and things like that are things that are not currently running. It has the minus symbol. But as you can see here, we don't want to mess with that. The important thing that we want to activate is my SQL service. And how we can do that, we can do something like service. Uh, what are you doing? Code spaces? Why are you not letting me type? Oh my god, I don't know what's happening with code spaces. Hmm, interesting. Code spaces are not allowing me to type. Let's see now. Service. There you go. Service star MySQL server. I'm sorry, MySQL start. Let me type, please. Oh my god, I don't know why MySQL is not allowing me to. Uh, there you go. Start. Oh my god, I don't know what is going on with my code space. Like, are you able to hear me? Like, I don't know if my internet connection is like being bad or something like that, or if I'm doing something wrong. But let me know if you can hear me well, or if I'm a little bit laggy or something like that. Uh, okay. Then I think it's my connection or something like that that is um messing up with me. Uh, okay. Start. There you go. So yeah, we can start this service by just typing service MySQL start, and everything should be running now. So as you can see here, we have starting MySQL database server MySQL D, and SU warning cannot change directory to non-existent. Don't ignore that. But the only thing that we care about is this message starting MySQL database server MySQL D. And how we can check that again is by doing service status all, so we can check that MySQL now has been activated. So if I click inside MySQL, as you can see here now, I've entered inside my SQL. As you can see here, we are now inside MySQL. So we have the welcome message, welcome to MySQL monitor commands, and with blah 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 blah. Your MySQL connection ID is 12 server version blah 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 Ubuntu copyright Oracle register blah blah. The thing here now that we care about is like basic commands that we can use on MySQL. So if I do something like /h, I see that I have all these commands that I can use right here for starting um, a new MySQL command, or to call MySQL and uh, tell my MySQL, hey, I want to do this or that or the other, right? So okay, so let's start by. What about if we start by creating our first database? Um, I'm so sorry for that. I don't know why today my trollers kill me, or I don't know why, but yeah, the first thing that we want to do is to create our first database. So because we're making an e-commerce, let's just call it like e-commerce or something like that. Like how we can do that is by utilizing the command create database and the name of that database, and the name of the database is going to be something like e-commerce, and we need to do the oh my god, how you tell this in English? How you call this character? Let me just yeah, semicolon. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, remember to add the semicolon at the end of your line of or command, so MySQL can understand that, hey, this is the end of the line and this is the command that I want you to execute. So yeah, basically we're going to do create database e-commerce. So we click on that and the query shows us okay. So if we want to see databases, we can use the command show and just type databases. Oh yeah, the semicolon. See the importance of the semicolon. But yeah, pretty much we can see that we have just created a database, and the database is called e-commerce. Alrighty, so we have created our first database, but now the important thing is something funny, because what if we want to create like tables or something like that? Like remember the other day that we were seeing e-commerce database design or something like that. Database diagram. Yeah, it was e-commerce database diagram actually. Let me show you the picture that I'm talking about, and let me open this image in a new tab. So yeah, this is the image I'm talking about. So remember that we want like, hey, these are all the tables that we want to use and that we want to create for creating our e-commerce. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, thank you so much for it. Yeah, it is called semicolon. But yeah, okay, anyway, continue with that. As you can see here, there are a lot of tables and there are a lot of things that are like properties that we are going to use. Like for example, product variant is going to have brand ID, product ID, finish ID, and things that blah blah, blah things like that. So as you can see, like we have to get a lot of information, and on MySQL, how we can do that is by writing something like create. Uh, I think my yeah, there you go. Like create a table um, users and put all the properties, but we're going to make like a line of like a line super 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 big, and whenever we want to update maybe a property or change the type from an integer to a float or to something like that, we're going to make a mess if we want to do everything on the CLI of MySQL. So what we want to do is to use something called an ORM, or if we want to, instead of change, if we want to use another database like PostgreSQL or Microsoft Server or something like that, we want to be able to just use data stuff, so we can we want to be able to just change from one database to another in a really simple way without us to be working 2 hours on our CLI of our our database just for installing and for preparing all of our data or our tables or things like that. So what we're going to do is to use something called object relational mapping, or RM for your friends. So basically, as Wikipedia says, it is a technique for converting data between relational databases and the heap of object-oriented programming languages. So we can create virtual object databases with this, and pretty much it's going to look something like, for example, if we want to select anything from, uh, if we want to make queries, we can make queries to the from our code, or we can uh, just make queries from to our database, or we can just use some code for making like more complex queries, or to create tables, or to do some other stuff. So the ORM that we're going to use today is called Sequelize. I think now you should be able to see it. So yeah, I'm going to share with you the link of Sequelize so you can use it right here. Oh, we're not coding yet, but don't worry about it. I'm going to change the screen whenever I change to the to the code space. But yeah, this is Sequelize. So I just passed you send you the link of the ORM so you can take a look into Sequelize. So yeah, pretty much Sequelize is a modern TypeScript and Node.js ORM for Oracle, Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB, SQLite, and things like that. That you oh sorry, I was muted. Yeah, pretty much you can use Sequelize for any database that you want to use as long as it is relational and Sequelize supports that database. You should be really easy to go without with these dependencies. So as you can see here, we have dependencies like how to install dependencies, how to define models. Like we saw the other day, we defined our first models and make queries super easily and ready to go. So as we can see here, SQLite has data modeling, associations, self deletion, and it is super easy to get ready to start and start installing this into our repo. So as you can see here, to install Sequelize in our repo, the only thing that we need to do is um, to copy this command called npm install Sequelize. So the only thing that we're going to do now is go into our code spaces, close our MySQL CLI by just doing Control C, uh, like Control plus C, or yeah, I think there should you should be able to see like which character I'm talking about or which letter. But yeah, sometimes I super get confused if someone is talking about DC or this C. I don't know if it's one or the other, but yeah, we're going to use Control plus C. So yeah, so use that for getting up your MySQL CLI, and we're going to paste this command that we had right here. Why is it not copying itself? npm install. I think it didn't even copy itself to my. Oh, there you go. So yeah, we're just going to copy and paste this. So we're going to do npm install type SQLize. We're going to enter that, and SQLize should be installing itself. And ta we did already SQLize. So the second thing that we need for now is another package called MySQL2, if I'm not wrong, or npm mysql2. Yeah, we're going to use mysql which is a client for Node Package Manager. It's like a package that we're going to use for Node. So pretty much we're going to use mysql2. I think it's in my SQLize. Sorry, it's mysql2 is a client for Node.js to that supports the reading of more stuff like from or RMs and um I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. Green Yoshi, sorry David, had to step away. Are we downloading Sequelize? Yeah, we're downloading Sequelize. Let me pass you again the link so you can so you can just copy and paste everything that we're using. Um, yeah, we're installing everything inside our machine. So this is the link of Sequelize. So pretty much you need to go into Sequelize, just copy and paste this command, paste it on your terminal, and install the Sequelize package. And after that, go here into npm. Let me pass you again the link of MySQL2. So go here and in MySQL2, just copy here in the part that says install, copy, click here, go into your code spaces or into your terminal, paste it again, and you're going to be installed MySQL client for Node.js. And now the first thing that we want to do is just to connect to that database first. So why we want to connect to our database? We want to connect to our database because we want to be starting creating tables and things like that. So the thing that we're going to do now is just to pass the parameters separately to the dialects that we're going to be using. So a good practice for doing that is creating another file that we can use for pretty much create and to practice inside our tables that we are going to be using. Just give me a quick minute until I find the the code that I'm talking about. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Totally, I totally forget about. I totally lost the file that I'm looking for. And okay, I think it was something like going into DB and creating a new file like a config or something like that. Give me just 1 minute because the file that I'm looking for is has just randomly disappeared. But while we do that, we can talk about how to create a model inside SQLize. So how we can define a model inside SQLize is by following the documentation, going into core concept, model basics, and creates a new SQLize model by going here into count SQLize data types, require, const user, blah, 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 and to take a look into how SQLize allows us to define a model for a database. Let me see if the file already here. There you go. Okay, yeah. So first of all, the thing that we want to have is to have a JSON, and why we want a JSON is because we want to initialize a new SQLize is to have a new SQLize oh, I totally forget about the word, a new SQLize initialization um command. Yeah, server that like I don't know what's going on with me today, but yeah, what we want to do first with SQLize is to first adapt our project so our project or our code base can understand what SQLize wants to do. So the first thing that we need to do is to go inside our CLI or our terminal and do SQLize init, and I think it's npx SQLize init. It is not like, oh, let me just SQLize init, um SQLize CLI. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry for that. Oh my god, I punched the back of my head. So sorry for that. All right, yeah. So we're going to go back into SQLize and we're going to install the CLI of SQLize so we can start our project and so we can adapt our project so we can um, understand SQLize. So we're going to go back here into our terminal and go and do npm install save the SQL CLI. And after doing that, we're going to go again to our CLI page that I'm going to pass you here in the chat. Um, Pachuca Pachanga. Pachuca Pachanga. What does that mean, man? All right. So we are going to do npx equals CLI init, and we're going to go here and npx equals CLI init. And as you can see here, we have some stuff created right here. The first one that we have is unconfig, and unconfig we have a config.json um, that JSON that has been created. So we have username, root, password, null, database development, host, blah, 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 blah. Why are we seeing all this stuff? We're seeing all this stuff because we're seeing that our development path is our development database. Okay, sorry. we have three types of database that we are going to use depending on the environment that we're working on. If we're working on a development environment, the database that is going to be executed is the one called database development, and it's going to have the dialog of MySQL. It's going to have the username root, the password is going to be null, blah blah blah. Basically, this is a configuration file that we can use for configuring which parameters we need to pass to our database so we can connect itself um, without having any problem. Basically, we want to be able to connect our computer or our API to our database. But for doing that, we need these parameters like username, password, database host, and things like that. We can also add new parameters like the collection limit or wait for corrections and things like that that we can add right here inside our project. So pretty much that's it. This is the configuration that we need to use. The other thing that we need to do, the other thing that you see that has been created is a migration folder. And what is a migration? We're going to see it like super ASAP, but in a few minutes. But I want you to look into the models file that we have here. We have a new file called index.js being created. I think I don't know if this CLI supports JavaScript if I'm correct, like CLI TypeScript. Let me just make a quick search inside like CLIs and types. There you go, the TypeScript. Um, Let me just take a look into what I'm looking here. Model optional CLIs, blah blah blah. No, this is not what I'm looking for. So yeah, pretty much don't worry about it right now. Uh, okay, I'm reading some kind of Didi did do that. Okay, well a pachuca is like a chola. Oh, you mean like like a pachuco? Like there's like a song called Pachuco, super super cool. That is from La Maldita Vecindad. Um, I don't know if we're going to be copyrighted, but
Are you sick of having issues
no, StreamYard, dude.
with your webinars, wasting
No,
tons of
StreamYard,
time
no. But,
on troubleshooting with attendees?
but yeah, this is a really cool song called Pachuco. It is super, super good. I totally encourage you to take a look into it. Pachuco, it is one of the most crazy songs that you're going to take a look into. And for me, like this is a Pachuca. Pachuca is like the old gangster cholos from Mexico. But I don't know that a Pachuca existed. Pachuco mujer. Oh, this is a Pachuca. Oh, nice. Like an old gangster. Old lady gangster from him? Oh wow. Because for me, Pachuca is like a city. Look, this is Pachuca. This is the city of Pachuca, and Pachuca is actually like a city that is like a half an hour near Mexico City, and also like it is like a football team here in Mexico. Like Pachuca is other thing. I think here in Mexico we don't have any anything like a Pachuco or like Cholos. I think Cholos and Pachucos are something more US stuff or more California thing than from Mexico, you know. But yeah, pretty much. Uh oh wow, we're chola we're cholas assemble and socialize. Cholas. Wow, this is so chola and so Pachuca. It's a really good chola. A good chola like culture, you know, because to be honest, I've never seen a cholo in my life. Like here in Mexico City, I've never seen like someone dressed like that or like the cholo culture. I've never lived the cholo culture. For example, this is something that you can take a look in here in Mexico City. For me, this is a cholo. But someone like this, I've never seen someone like this in my life. Like like this cholo culture I've never experienced. This is something more common here in Mexico City, like seeing someone like this. But I don't know if this is another type of cholo. There's one popular band that was super popular between cholos in the US, I think, which is called Control Machete in the city where I studied, called Monterrey. It is also super popular. Super popular. It's called Control Machete. It is like one of the biggest bands or rap Mexican bands that popularized the chola culture right here in Mexico. It appears on a like the most popular song appear in a Mexican movie called Amores Perros, which is like a for me it's like a Mexican Pulp Fiction. Like if you ever want to see like a really crude and super good movie, like this movie's is super good. It's like super crude, like it's super raw. Also, I don't know, but if you want to see a really good story, take a look into Amores Perros. Um, Amores Perros poster English. Let me see how Amores Perros. Yeah, I don't think we have like a translation English in English. No, it actually is called Amores Perros. Like it doesn't have like a transition translation. Uh, Pulling a new tab. There you go. Yeah, as you can see here, we don't have any translation, but there are like a movie which has three different stories, but each story connects itself with each other, and it's from Iñárritu. I think the director Iñárritu had won like an Oscar or something like that. But oh yeah, it's the one who made the Revenant, the one where DiCaprio is like some like old west Revenant. I think it's on the old west like an on Oregon or something like that. But he's like a survivor trying to survive in the winter. He's being followed by Indians and also for the like he's being followed by the army and things like that. Um, it is a super cool movie. Like if you want, like take a look into The Revenant. The Revenant's like such a really good movie. Like totally give it a try. It is one of the best. It is one of the best DiCaprio movies. Like I think he even got inside like a horse to survive like a winter. Like it was like a really cold night. It was going to be like minus 30 degrees Celsius that on Fahrenheit is. Um, uh, minus 22 Fahrenheit. Is it like that? Yeah, it was going to be something like minus 22 Fahrenheit or minus 4 Fahrenheit or something like that. But basically, he needed to survive that night, and his only companion was his horse, and his horse was like already injured from one of his legs, so he needed to sacrifice his horse so he can get inside his horse and to survive that cold winter night and he even fight with a bear. Like my god, this is a really good movie. Like you should totally give it a try. It is super good. I'll totally recommend to you. Anyway, let's go back here. A lot of cholos, a lot of movies, a lot of Mexican directors, movie directors, but we need to continue actually with this. Alrighty, so we were talking about that new we have created a new well actually sequelize created for us a new file called index.js inside our model folder. So this is created because the CLI of Sequelize creates index file that we can use whenever we create a new um, a new model, and so we can work with this model, and whenever we create a new model inside our model folder, we can link that model inside this index, and whenever we want to export this db constant, we can use it in our controllers. So we can identify the models that we created. So in other words, let me open paint well let me open Figma actually, so I can tell a little bit more about this. um Let me open a new FigJam so I can explain it better, and so you can have a better vision of this. Yeah, I know it is super super. It is like it's such a good actor, like him. Like sorry for that. Oh wow, like I'm dying. Sorry for that. Like yeah, I know. Like DiCaprio is such a good actor. Also, Robert De Niro. Also, who's another really good actor that I really admire? Like I really love how Samuel Jackson acts. Like Samuel Jackson is one of the best actors that I really like. Like Samuel Jackson, and Adam Driver is such a really good actor too. I think he's going to be the main character in the new. Who's the director of Apocalypse Now? Apocalypse Now is from. Who's the director? Oh man, Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, from the new Coppola movie is going to be like Adam Driver is going to be the main character in that movie. So you should totally take a look. If you didn't know Coppola, Coppola is the director of the Godfather movies, of the Godfather 1, 2, and 3, and also the director of Apocalypse Now movies. If you never watched The Godfather, it is such a really good trilogy, but I would say that the third movie is my favorite one. I would say that it doesn't even exist for me. I would say that The Godfather ends at the second part, and that's all. That's how it should end. But yeah, let's continue with that. We talk a lot about movies we haven't even touched our code yet. So already we have already created our models file, and we have also created our migrations folder. And why we want to do that is because we need to do a lot of the stuff inside our API. So how we can think about this is that imagine that we have our API right here, like we have our API, and our API has everything that we want, but inside our API we have more stuff or some other stuff that we want, like right here. Like let me just quit this and try to add a like new circle right here, like controller. Also we have other stuff like our models, and we need to have something right here called database. I'm going to put it like db, and our db has other stuff called tables. So currently we're doing right, like we're doing this right here, and imagine that this is my SQL database, something like this, like MySQL. But this database can be any kind of database that we want. So what if instead of MySQL we were using something like I don't know, MariaDB, DB actually. So the thing that we are doing now is just defining our controllers and our models that we want. So, for example, if we want to create a new users model, Um, Let me change the color of this to something like that. Yeah, I like that. So we have users, and users have some properties like name, age, um, I don't know, like email and money, for example. If we were doing something like this, we want that our model can have can replicate the same properties that we have inside, or like we have defined right here in our models. I'm sorry, I wanted to use actually this. So until now, we are declaring how we want our user model to be, but until now, our database doesn't know that. And how we can do that is by using an ORM. So our ORM actually is here right in the middle. We're going to call it ORM or sequelize. We're going to put it like a large one. So what the sequelize does is to tell the database how we can replicate this in our tables. So basically, models is talking to SQLize and saying, "Hey, models, please be a good fella and just tell my boy MySQL database that I want to create a new table that has the same properties that I have here on models." So SQL is going to talk with MySQL and is going to say, "Hey, bro, please be a good fella and make this that my bro wants." So MySQL, or well, yeah, the database is going to create a new table that is going to be exactly like the content that we have right here on my models. And it's going to have the same properties that we define right here, so we can have it right here exactly. Um, and how we do that is by using the index.js. Well, is by telling and creating these models. So whenever we want to use again the CLI and to create again whenever we imagine that, okay, I'm creating my repo right here, but what happens is someone else from the team or another hacker wants to fork the repo, and you have the same database or the same tables or the same properties that we want to have in each table. We have something called migrations, and SQLize helps us to use these migrations by having something called well, the first of all is the DB configurations with the JSON that we just watched. And pretty much what we're doing is saying, okay, hey, whenever I run my application or my TypeScript API, please tell my database that I'm going to start my application. And if I'm going to create a new table or something like that, a new migration is going to be created. So, for example, imagine that we added a new, okay, sorry for that. Before saying that, imagine that until now, our current version of our database is the version 101, and the version 101 just has our user table, and that's all. But what happens if I want to add a new table, something like products? And products have name, have prices, and has an ID, right? So if I want to talk with products and to do the same thing, to talk with to my database and tell models that, hey, please be a good fella and do whatever I want to, and tell my database that I want to create a new table called products. Please do that, and our database is going to create um, a new table that has the product's properties. So we're going to do that. So because we added the new table that has new properties and they have some new stuff, we want to have that. And how we can do that is by creating migrations. So migrations, you can imagine it as like a Git history, or like a version controller, but for our databases. Some migrations can take a look into the changes that we're making in our databases. And whenever we pass this code base or this repo to another person, that other person can have the same version of the database that I have, and my API can be progressively reaching out new people, or can be updating itself like more frequently. So yeah, pretty much that's it for migrations. The and that's why we are seeing this migration folder right here. But for now, we're not going to touch that, and why we're not going to touch that is because we need to configure first our model folder. But we have reached the first hour with 5 minutes. So, what do you think if we just take a 5 minutes break so we can go and try to take a little bit of water, try to get some cookies or some apples or whatever snack you have on your side, and we come back like in just 10 minutes, and after that we'll be rich going, and we'll be going to be starting working and defining our first models on SQLize so we can use them, and after that start making our controller functions that we're going to be using. All right, I'm going to assume that that's okay, and we'll see you back in 5 minutes. And we're back. Let me just quit this music and turn out this music and quit the background. Uh, there you go. Let me turn on my camera so you're able to see me. And we are back. So, what do you grab? Do you grab a glass of water, a glass of coffee? Do you grab some Red Bull, some Monster Energy? What do you got? Like, do you grab some cookies, some snacks, or some apples? Here in Mexico, it's like almost 11:15 p.m. So, oh my God, it was a long day and I'm already tired. Luckily, we just have 45 minutes left of the session. So I think we're going to be able to continue with this and to make our models and to make our controllers. So don't worry about this. You don't have anything to worry about. So yeah, let me just continue with it. And actually, I'm going to bother you again because I need to go for my charger, the charger of my computer, and connect my laptop ASAP because my battery is dying. So it'll be just 5 minutes. No, like 2 minutes or 1 minute. And it's going to be super quick. There you go. We have battery connected, battery connection. Alrighty, let's go. Let's continue with this because we are almost finished with the second session. And let's continue with this. Alrighty, so we already talked about migrations, we already talked about models, but the first thing that we need to do is we need to change this client thing because we're not going to use it right now. The only thing that we are going to use is to create a new, is going to use the CLI again, the CLI so we can documentation so we can go again and try to understand a little bit more of how we can create the models without the need of writing a lot of code. So how we can do that is by first of all going into the create first model and migration part. So how we can do this is by doing npx CLI model generate name user attributes first name string main alt string. So we're going to do that for now. Let's go into our terminal, go here and paste this so we can execute the new model that we want to create. In this case, we're using JS, but because this is a TypeScript project, we're going to change it. But as you can see here, the only thing that we basically did was to use our package executor npx and call the package sequelize CLI, and we're saying the CLI, hey, please generate a new model with the name user and add the following attributes to that model. The first attribute is going to be the first name, that is going to be a string, the last name that is going to be also string, and the email that is going to be also a string. And as you can see here, we already have some stuff right here being created or being generated. And this stuff is the basically the configuration or the adaptation of our model that we just generated. So as you can see here, we have a lot of stuff like user string. We have also a thing called model. That model requires sequelize or import sequelize. And basically we're saying, hey, this model is going to export a class user that extends um, the model class or the model object that we just imported from sequelize, and it's going to have two arguments. The first one is sequelize, and the second one is data types. So sequelize, we're going to use it for configuration of sequelize. We want to use another package or something like that, or another function that we want to get inside our class. we can use SQLize for that. And data types is a model that SQLize uses for defining data types like first name or like not last name or like email and things like that. For now, I think this is more than enough. If we want to add another data type, we can take a look into the documentation and go into our SQLize documentation and just go into search and type data types. And I think we have data types. Um, where are you? Data types. There you go. So we have data types right here, and we can see the data types on model basics. So as we can see here, we have different types of data that we can use. So for example, if we want to use the strings, um, we have character or like strings that can go in like until 255 characters. We also have like um, until 1234 characters. We have also binaries. We can also just say that something is going to be a text, it's going to be a tiny text, a C text, or a TS vector, like for Postgres SQL. And also we have other stuff like booleans. We have numbers if we want to use floats or reals or doubles or integers or decimals. We can use it also for example, the prices that we need to define on our products model. So as you can see here, we also can use IDs and also use dates. So don't worry about it. We have a lot of data types that we can be using thanks to SQLize. For now, we're not going to mess around with that. The thing that we want to do is to actually import this user model into our index.js model so we can say so we can tell um I'm sorry, so we can tell SQLize that we want to import or to export to our so we can sorry, I messed my head again. The thing that we want to do is to create a new constant called users, and it's going to be equal to require, and we want to require users and pass this following two objects that are going to be SQLize and SQLize at data types. Let me double check if that is correct. No, actually we don't want to do this. The thing that we want to do is to have the thing that we want to do is just to pass SQLize and SQLize, but with this the instance of SQLize that we have right here, that is just a constant, and we're using that SQLize to initialize a new SQLize object or new SQLize instance of the SQLize model. So the only thing that we're doing here is to say, hey, please use and create a new constant called users, and please import the model that we have on user.js, that is our user class that extends model, and please pass to these two arguments. The first one, the instance of SQLize, and the second one, the model of SQLize, so you can use it, and so SQLize can understand that we're going to be using that. And actually, this is not even correct because we don't want to use cons. We want to use db.users. And why we want to do this is because we want to integrate inside our DB model that we are actually exporting right here on model that exports DB. We want to include our model, or yeah, the model that we have just created inside users inside our DB consent, so we can make use of this consent in our into our user controller. So we're going to create that new controller right here. So we're going to do user controller dot ts, and right here I think we have something a little weird. So we're not even gonna worry about this. We're actually going to just delete this. Let me please delete this, please. There you go. And we're going to create a new controller right here. And we want to create that controller because we want to be able to make stuff with this. We want to be able to manage the business logic of our e-commerce inside this controller. So, for example, if I do something like I don't know, the first thing that I want to do is to import my DB. So how I can do that is by saying import DB from models index, and I'm not really sure if this is like this. I think it's just DB, and how we want to do this is by doing yeah, models. Blah, 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 format. Oh yeah, this is correct. Don't worry about it. It's like const user is equal to db dot user. We have this error because our model actually is actually a JS model, so pass we need to create a new TypeScript object so we can understand more about DB. But this is going to be a mess, man. Alrighty. How can we solve this? This is going to be hard, to be honest. So let me just, for now, let me just use JS until we need to make the TypeScript changes. But for now, we can import DB from models. And because we have an index.js file inside our model folder, the thing that is going to import this folder is the index.js file. So if we do something like const user is going to be equal to db.user. As we can see here, we have sequelize, and we have the sequelize model that we want to use. So now we are able to create our first controller. We're going to fix it and to translate it into TypeScript until we find around how to work around that error that we have from DB. But until now, we're going to use JavaScript until we and our first controller first. But yeah, let's just create our first class. It's going to be class user controller, and it's going to be in, well, a new class, and this new class is going to be exported, and actually this model is going to be export default user controller. And the first thing that we want to declare here is to be able to create our first is to be able to have all the functions and all the how can I say this, is to have all the requirements that we need inside our user. So as you can see here, we have users, but we have not the why I cannot go into users. I don't know why. But yeah, pretty much what we want to do is to be able to use the class user and to be able to see that user have first name, last name, and an email. But right here, what we're going to do is to declare all the functions that allows us to make uh, 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 is it called CRUD? I think so. Give me just 1 minute because I don't remember how this is called. So yeah, I think so. How can I make a multiple line comment in JavaScript? Multiple line in JavaScript. Multiple line comment. Tricks for script finder follow dash. Oh yeah. I see. Okay, looks like it's just something like this. There you go. we want to make to be able to do four the four typical actions that we do usually on a database. That is create, um, read, update, and delete. So this is called actually CRUD, or yeah, I think it's, yeah, we can just call it a CRUD. And basically, what we want to do is to be able to create users, to read one or all the users of the database, to update an user record. The remember records are like the routes that we have on our database, and to be able to delete an user by its ID. And how we can do that is by actually calling the database, trying to see if the database has the the database connection was able to be made, and actually to be able to just read and to create more stuff with our database. So the first thing that we want to do is to make an async function called create, and we're going to pass two requests. We're going to pass request and response, and because we are not using for now we're not using um, there you go. Because for now we're not using TypeScript. What we're going to do now is just to create a new param, or I mean a new doc string that can help us to create this stuff without having any kind of problems. So I think I have an error with this comment. So what is going on here? So we have a param break expression any. Param, what is going on here? Okay, so we have this. What? What is going on with this? So we have reg and res, but I don't know what is going on here. Okay, what if I copy and paste this like this? Um, creates. I think it was because of the import that I'm not having right here. Um, the HTTP request and the HTTP response. Alrighty. The only thing that we are using now, or that we are making now, is to create a new doc string that allows us to understand or to make documentation into our function. This is a really good practice if you're creating a controller, if you're using any library, of you're creating a library, if you're creating code just for fun inside your JavaScript, in like using JavaScript. Um, a really good practice is to add docstring to your functions, so everyone can understand what are you what does any of the stuff that we're using means. Like for example, we can understand that here rec is a type of express that request, and that it is basically the HTTP request and the HTTP response. Um, and basically, this is going to return this promise, and this promise is going to be of a type of void, and pretty much that's why we're using these documents. But yeah, pretty much what we're going to do now is to make an async function, or oh yeah, also you need to add a line that explains in a little bit of words what does this function does, right? So for example, the name of this function is just create, but a good practice is actually to give a good name to this function that allows you to understand what type of thing does this create, right? So we want to do something like create a user, and we want to say that this like this function creates a new user in the database. And how we can do that is by first checking up if we can actually create this. How we can do that is by using a try catch block. Remember, try catch, what does this block of code does is to um, it tries to execute the code that we have right here, like inside this try block, And if something goes wrong, we're going to catch that error in this block, and we're going to do something with that error. And if that error happens, or we are seeing that error, we're going to be able to check that error up. But for catching this error, we need to have a new variable that is going to be an error, and we can just set that an error happened is in a form of like a JSON message, and we can try just do something like I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So we are going to pass. We're going to first extract the things that we want to check out from our. The validated request for now is not going to be important. We can create our middleware in our first session, but the thing that you need to understand is that the only thing that we're using is that we are going to receive a request, and the thing that we expect to receive is an object of an user. And remember that we have already a model called user right here that has first name, last name, email, and things like that. Um, Pretty much what we want to do is to be we want to expect to have or to receive a request that has inside its body all this stuff like a first name, a last name, an email. And what we want to do with this is to extract all the stuff from the JSON that we received, and to save this JSON in a form that our database can understand. So we're going to create a new constant called data, and this data is going to await to check into our user model can handle to check if our database was able to create a new a new user inside the database. And if everything goes well, we're going to send a status of 204 status. It's going to be at 204. And why are we sending at 204 instead of at 200? Remember the HTTP cats. We're using, let me just go into HTTP cat and go inside 204. Remember this page, HTTP cats. HTTP cats explains to you with cat memes, what does any of this status is being made. So, for example, because we are using uh, we're going to create a new object or user um, a new user object inside our table or inside our databases. We're going to send it's a 201 or a 204, whatever you want to use. Uh, a status response, and basically this means that okay, it was created and you don't need to do anything, so don't worry about it. The request that you sent it was successfully created, or the object you sent to us was successfully created, and you don't have to worry about it. The only thing that you need to do is to check up again to see if something was created or not. So why don't we go back into our code space and change this for to a one. But yeah, pretty much what are we saying is, hey, please check if extract all the information from the JSON or the body of the request that we receive, and pass that data to our ORM or our model that has already implemented functions for creating stuff inside our database, and create a new user inside inside the database that we have currently. And if everything goes well, then send as status response uh, of 201, and send the data that was the we received in the API. If something goes wrong in this try block, just send a message to the user that with a 500 status response, and send the message of the error that message. If we don't happen to have, or it occurs that we don't have any any message or something like that, you say something wrong occurred while creating the user, and that's going to be it. So the next thing we need to do is to try to check if this works. But before doing that, we need, until now we have just created the C of our CRUD. We need to do the read parameter, the read function. And how we can do that is by creating a new async function called um, read users. We're going to also receive a request and a response. We're going to return something goes up, and also we need to add our doc string, and we're going to receive an import an import what? Oh yeah, actually it was import um express that request, and create a new user in the database. What is going on here? Why I'm not able to look at this param return? Oh yeah, I think I don't have returns. Returns a promise void, but something is wrong here. Seed pick up. Yeah, I see which is the problem right now. There you go. Let me format this document and just do the same thing, but instead of because we're going to use our response like this, and this is the HTTP request, and this is the HTTP response, and function that fetches all the users from the users table and returns them as a JSON object. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much we're going to have a new function called async read users. We're going to receive a request and we're going to receive standard response. So actually, because we're just going to read, we're not going to receive anything in the request body. So that is why we're not making use of requests. So now that we have request, now that we have all the function created, because we are going to access to the DB, and the DB is going to be something that happens in other part of the server, we're going to again use the try catch function so we can access the data. And how we're going to do that is by creating a new constant called data, and data is going to await to try to find all the users inside our users table. And if everything goes well, we're going to pass or respond with a status of 200 that everything went well. Remember that 200 means that everything is okay. Remember the HTTP card means that everything is okay. The status or the request was successful and succeeded and it's cacheable by default. So the only thing that the user should know is that hey, everything went well. Don't worry about it. You're now going to see the response of the server. Something goes wrong, we're going to do the same thing of just sending their message, and pretty much that's it. So now we're going to copy and paste all this stuff again because we need now to already we already made our C and our R. So we have to now go for the U so we can update a user by their ID or something like that. So what I'm expecting to receive is something like let me first quit this up. So we do something like update user, and we're going to have again our request and response, and this is going to um, update an user info by their by the ID in the request body dot. Okay. So yeah, pretty much what are we going to do first is by creating a new um, ID of the user, or like user ID, and this is going to be inside our request.params.id. And the second thing that we want to do is to create a new, is to find a user by its ID, right? So we're going to do something like, yeah, something like this. Basically, we're going to add a new try block, and inside, I can remember we're using a function in a try block because we want to be able to first try to check if the database has that information, and if something goes wrong, we can be able to see what went wrong in that process of us to trying to access to the database information, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is to create a new constant called data, and data is going to await until our user model can be able to update. We're going to pass the request body, and we're going to pass the user ID that we have right here. So if we find something, we're going to send a message of user was updated successfully. Is if nothing, if we didn't find that person, we're going to pass that. We're going to send a message that we can that we didn't find that user inside our database. And if something goes wrong in this search for the user, we're going to catch that error and to show it or to respond with a status of 500, and try to show that to those persons um, that we had an error, right? And I think the final part of this is just creating the delete user function. Delete user function. Let me just quit this and delete this and just update the documentation of this. And we are going to do something like deletes an user from the database by their the ID of the user. So we're going to do that. So again, the first thing that we need to do is to create a new constant that is called UID, and this is going to be equal to request.params dot ID. And now what we need to do is do another is to have another constant called I don't know if you are able to hear me now. I think my internet connection is being bad right now. Let me know if you can hear me, or if you're able to hear me, or if something is wrong with me. Um, are you able to hear me, or did I did my connection die or something like that? Ping google.com. Alrighty. Nice. Thank you so much, Brennan. I think it was code spaces that was being like rude. But yeah, pretty much we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a new try block, and this try block is going to have the first try to search that the user was able to find, that the user or the ID that the user sent to us in the request body was able to be found. If we didn't find anything, we're going to send a message that, hey, we didn't find anything. And if we actually did find everything, we're going to send a message of, hey, the user was deleted. The only thing is that we like this is correct, but the only thing is that we need to get to take a look into these cats and try to see if everything is correct, right? So, for example, the 204 says that there's no content, and the description is that, hey, the status of your request is correct, like everything was great, the request has succeeded, but you don't need to do anything. So this can be used actually on put, but when we delete stuff, we actually need to use another status, I think. Um, and actually, I think the only one that we do is to afford. Yeah, actually, I think we're just going to be we only need to use 204 because we actually deleted like the record from our database, but we didn't need to do anything. So we're just going to pass arrays data status that, and the status is going to be here 204. But if something happened, that means that there's an error, and the request was not successful. So let's try to see which cat is the best one for this request that actually was not. I think the 403 is the perfect one that we can use. The 403 because response status indicates that the server understands the request but refuses to authorize it. Um, 401, but the 403 status code reauthenticating makes no difference. Um, Actually, I'm not really sure about that because we unauthorize, not fine, method not allowed, not acceptable. Proxy authentication is passed, conflict gone, they required, not found. I think maybe a 404, right? Because 404 means that it was not it not is not found, but we actually did not found any um we didn't found any idea of that stuff that we want. So we have 404. Let's try to read this. The response status code indicates that the server cannot find the requested resource. Links the 404 page are not often called broken or dead links and can be subjected to the link run. A 404 status code only indicates that the resource is missing, not where the absence is temporary or permanent. If a resource is permanently removed, we use 410 go on the status instead. So I think 404 is correctly used right here because we didn't find, right? 204 is no content, and 404 is things aren't working, and 10 currently no showings using the same link. Yeah, you're right, but 204 is like for it's no content, right? But that means that the request was successful and has succeeded, but here the request was not succeeded because we didn't find that. So I think we can use it all good old ChatGPT to try to ask this. So imagine that I have the following code that searching for an ID in my database, but and after searching it, I didn't found it. Which HTTP status should I use for telling the user that I didn't found the requested ID? All right. When you're searching for an ID in your database and you don't find it, you should return to HTTP status record 44 not found. This status indicates that the server did not find the requested resource in your case. The resource being to record with the requested ID, returning 44 status communicates to the client that the requested resource is not available, which aligns with the scenario where the requested ID could be found in your database. Alrighty, so we're going to use the 44 then. So let me go here again and do response that status 44 dot send, and we're going to send a cannot declare the user with ID, maybe user wasn't found, and we need to do that here. We need to add this right here too. So yeah, pretty much here we need to use the status of 204, and that should be it. Okay, so now we have all our function. We can delete users, we can update users, we can also fetch the user from the table, we can read, we can create, we can update, information we can read only, and things like that. So I think until now everything is cool. The only thing is that we need to um no, actually, yeah, like everything is cool right now, but we need to modify our git ignore so we can ignore our migrations. No, actually, I think we don't want to ignore our migrations. Actually, I think we want our migrations to be able to be seen, so our folks or our team can be able to work around that too. So yeah, let me just push this change so I can put something like migrations, models, sequelize, migrations, and user controller created. And let me push my changes so you'll be able to see all the changes that were made in this session. And pretty much we have run almost out of time. So I want to let these 3 minutes left that we have here to answer questions. So if you have any questions, um, just ask them. And if not, we have reached the end of our stream. So, oh my God, I think I have a banner running and other stuff running. So let me just quit this and quit the command. So looks like we don't have actually. Yeah, don't worry about it. Like I know this session was a lot of things, and yeah. Don't worry about it. Like if you have any specific question or something like that, just ask in the Global Hack Week channel or the APIs channel. And if not, just try to send me a direct message. Oh no, actually, I don't have a direct message enabled. But yeah, just use the Global Hack Week channel and tag me if you can. I don't know if you're able to tag me, but yeah, I'll try to help you with all your questions and try to help you to understand a little bit better the session of today. If you have any questions, if not, I'll see you tomorrow at today at 8 p.m. ET or 10 p.m. I think. Let me double check that. I think I'm seeing you at 10 p.m. ET. So that means that for me is alrighty, Pranav. I'll take a look into that request and LinkedIn, and I'll try to check the API channel ASAP. So if there are no more questions, I think this is all. This is all for me, and we have ended. We have reached the end of our stream. So thank you so much for being here. Always glad to be here and to try to help you to build better APIs and to try to help you to teach more stuff in this space in Twitch. So thank you so much for being here, Green Joshi. Did do that? Faron and Pranap. I'm dying of. I'm super tired. So sorry if the stream was a little bit slow. So don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice night, day, whatever time is on your sound, and have a nice week. And I'll see you in 20 hours, something like that. Anyways, I'll see you later. Thank you so much for being here. See ya. Bye.